Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining this wonderful event, the 2021 North Carolina Marine Debris Symposium. I am more than thrilled. I have no words to describe how grateful that I feel to be among you, to be one of this discussion. And as Heather just mentioned, my name is Blada, and I'm from the first Black independent republic in the world, Haiti. Haiti is in the Caribbean, and I moved here in the U.S. In 2013, and I founded my organization, Blada Recycling, 2 years after moving in the U.S. Due to realization of how environmentally bad my country is in comparison to here, realizing how organizer the waste management system is here, and remembering how employment was a crisis, still is, in my country. And so I got motivated and started my own organization, trying to bring some solution. And solution we did fine, and we're still ongoing with it. I am here to try to bring something new to your mind. Try to help you start with a new perspective toward consumption. I would say consumption of decision making in the way you purchase purchase things that comes in plastic packaging. I learned that this symposium has the brightest, the smartest people in this industry, and so I hope that my presentation here can help you guys go back to your work and have something new to implement in your work. Please bear in mind, I may not be academic, I may not be politically correct, but know that I'm coming across as a passionate person who is kind of sick of being sick of plastic waste in our environment, and I'm hoping that I can make your time worthwhile today. Usually, when I'm asked to speak about in a setting like this, it's usually in a room where I can do fist bumps, and I can hug people and all of that, and I can ask people to raise hands if they feel like. So I can't do that now, but I'm just gonna assume that we all in this room know what the three arrows and the recycling symbol stand for. I think we all know it's reduce, reuse, and recycling. And I wanted to start like this because in those three words, three concepts, or three vocabularies, we can recognize that the first word that we say is reduce. Reduce is if I'm gonna try to reduce the amount of waste that I generate, that can help me reduce the cost of my I get a smaller bin or a smaller trash can, and I pay less for trash collection. That's great. I can reuse the little container that I bought, this thank you notes from, and then I reuse it to push thumbtacks or paper clips. That's great. But notice that the third one, which is the last one, and the symbol is recycling. Is when we don't reduce enough, when we don't reuse enough, then we recycle. But I'm here to take you to the fourth level that most of you may know already. And if you don't know, please bear with me. The fourth one has to do with refuse. And this is the way I think we should start the 2021. We need to start refusing when we don't need to get a plastic bag, refusing when we don't need to get that takeout in a styrofoam, because it's as we're noticing this plastic or waste crisis in the world, we have to do something that's quite unusual by saying no. I'll tell you a quick story, and the reason I'm going to tell you this story is because although all of us in here, we know, it's like, oh yeah, we know, we will refuse all day. But most people out there, they don't really know how or why they should think about refusing or bring their own water bottle, bring their own reusable grocery bag or what have you. I was at a store and I bought a box of thank you note cards. And so it's a small box, I can just carry it and play with it as I'm going out of the store. It was one of those office supply stores. And as my head was down, I'm paying, sticking my card into the card reader, and it's automatic. The cashier just stick my box inside of a plastic bag, and I raise my head and tell her that I don't want a plastic bag. Wow, what a shock! She was both shocked and excited, and it was for the same reason, because she's never told that nobody want a plastic bag before. But I'd like to take you to another level of that refuse. It's about refusing. It's about radical refuse. Radical refuse. Radical refuse. I hope I pronounced that well. It's radical refuse. It's not about being mean. It's not about being grumpy. It's not about being disrespectful. It's refusing unapologetically. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to say, "Oh, sorry, I don't want a plastic bag." That's fine, but this, to my eyes, this crisis is getting so out of hand. We gotta be a little bit more radical about it. And this concept of radical refuse is adopted by many environmentalists or environmental activist groups. I know one of them is hiring many times one of my friends whom is an artist. He makes giant puppets and use them to go do protests in front of big companies. I remember last couple of years, he made a giant monster out of trash bags, plastic bags, and go protest in front of Nestle. And this is the kind of radical refuse that I'm talking about. And it's okay to be a little bit radical. It's okay to be a little bit extreme, because if it's not radical for companies to package their food and things that are not recyclable or unnecessarily packaging, package a piece of cucumber or package a little anything that it's not really necessary. If that's not radical, it doesn't, you can be radical when you say, I don't want this plastic bag, you know. How many times you've been into a restaurant, you ask for a glass of water, and automatically the waiter stick a plastic straw into your water when you didn't ask for a straw. You know, you can say yes, no. I mean, you can say no. I don't want a plastic straw. And I think this approach, it's not only eye-opening, but it's actually educational, because once the business owner realized that I don't have to offer my customers a bag, then the cost of operating decrease and profit increase. And I have to this conversation right here. You cannot be talking about reducing, reusing, and recycling, or you cannot talk about marine debris without including islands. And so, where I'm from, Haiti, we are dealing with the same crisis that the world is dealing with, but on a higher scale, on a higher level. Because as I started saying how I was amazed when I moved here in the U.S. how organized the waste management system was, but still there's trash on the side roads. But in Haiti, where we don't have much of waste management infrastructure, it's a bigger crisis in a way. And so I remember when I was growing up, my parents, my mom, used to go to the market. It's an open, wide, huge market that people go to. But she used to carry her own basket. It's a basket that probably she made. And everybody do the same. Everybody used to do the same. And all of a sudden, in early 2000s, everybody stopped doing that. What they did, they go in the market, and when they get there, they buy what they're buying, and they actually literally buy plastic bags to carry their goods, where it's not guaranteed that they're gonna make it home without everything collapse on the streets. And this keep repeating. And then once they get home, if they finally get home safe, once they get home, this plastic bag get into the same trash sack or whatever, wherever they put their trash, and then get carried away next to the river or to the burn pile. And so, in this situation, my organization is working with locals to educate, to empower people to kind of do that behavioral change toward the way they consume waste, not consume, but generate waste. And we have to talk about the islands because, as they say in English, I don't have the right English right now, but it's about the waste. Flows downhill. The waste flows downhill, and so I've heard people talk about how they are noticing some particular pieces of trash in the ocean that's certainly or possibly come from this island or that island, and one of them is the water bags. Those water bags, they leak from the canals to the rivers and then into the ocean. And then people like our friend Bonnie Monteleon and Lisa found them in the ocean in the mouth of beautiful turtles. We have to go radical by empowering the business people, asking them to re-strategize in the way they're packaging their goods. We have to be a little bit radical with people, with businesses, so they can turn around and not paying for their footprint, but contribute and cleaning up their mess. And I know, as I mentioned, I may not be politically correct or academically correct, but I am passionate, and I would like to see some big changes made in the 2021. I've heard about some great data in the U.S. how CO2 is reduced during the lockdown, quarantine, and that's great. That's so great. About 7% decrease in carbon emission in the air. That's fantastic. That's celebratable. That's to be celebrated. But at the same time, I heard also how contaminated the recycling collection is been during the 2020, during the lockdown, because people couldn't go out to eat, the order takeouts, and it's a mess. And so I would like for you guys to consider including this as part of your 2021 resolution, saying that I am going to commit to myself, not to me, Blada, not to Lisa, not to Heather, not to anybody who's in this room, to commit to yourself that you are going to implement the fourth R into your doings, into your day-to-day business, by saying at least one time, by refusing at least one time per day, and watch the difference. Watch the difference. Get into the habit of refusing. You don't have to carry one piece of one box of small thing that you can put in the palm of your hand in a plastic bag just because it's cool. Because after that, you have to throw it in the trash. And in North Carolina, apparently, plastic bags is not recyclable. And with that being said, I hope I had a good influence on you. I hope my accent didn't throw you off back and forth too much. And remember, if you want any change, you have to take action. And you have to take action now. Thank you. Are you saying in general in the world, or specifically in the U.S.? Sure. In the U.S., I've certainly I've seen at least in my community, people being mindful about that. But at the same time, when you think it all is good, and then you go to the store, you see these huge carts with, it's mountains of things. Not to be judgy, but as someone who cares, you notice things, and so it's both. There's lots of progress being done, but there's so much more work to be done. And when I talk about the fourth R, right, being a little bit radical about it, it's not being mean. It's just being straightforward, educational about it. There are progress. People like us, we know it's not a big deal for us to bring our own bags or to refuse the plastic bag or refuse the plastic straw. I've seen foldable straws like ninjas, people like, and they do their drinks. But people like us, we're the minority of the awareness of what I'm talking about. We're a minority. We need to grow it, and then we need to go beyond by influencing the regulators, the people who are the marketers, the marketing geniuses who are coming up with fantastic way of packaging their stuff to make it last more, which is great. But we have to make sure that they are conscious about the environmental effect of their marketing strategy, if that makes sense. But to answer your question, yes, we are making progress, but there's still more work to do. People in Haiti, as I said, the problem is so big. It's like someone who've been hit by a giant bus and you don't know where to pick it up. It's kind of like that. I think what my organization is doing is we are emphasize hard.